Okay. Let's play a little bit before I go to bed. Here we go. Hey, how are you doing, Ninja? The day off tomorrow, so I'm up way too late and playing some games for a little bit. Back. Oh, that was quick. Okay, so these guys are gonna counter physical attacks, I'm guessing. Yep. Should I just use magic against them? Oh, maybe I don't counter every turn. Okay. Need to change his master. I don't know who he'd be good under, though, is the issue. Oh no. That was a bad turn. You way better. Gray. Urshan. Okay, so I guess that's the pattern. Every other turn, they use the counter ability. Okay, I got it. They're just gonna make me think while I kill them. Nice. Hello, friend. Is that what I wanted? Okay. Got a ton of apples. Two more apples to see if this does anything different. I don't think it is. So he's done. Okay. Just gonna counter every turn, then he's not as much of an issue. Oh. Wouldn't you? Okay. Oh, okay, I guess it's not every other turn. I guess it has some variance. Okay. Cool if you die. Juvenile. Right? I thought that would kill it. Wow. That miss did matter. Okay. Version. It's always fun. Ursula, you're letting me down. Need to get Sias a new weapon. Damage was ridiculously low. There. Here to the jungle. I think I get a new dragon gene. Ooh. Camera angle. To fight. Oh, okay. It's a little quick. Hoping I would get a turn on them before they attack. Take that. In the Japanese version of this game, they have a better name for the spell they use. It's just called oil. And that makes a little bit more sense than Dow's. Or spell that makes you fire. Not that bad. And healing? I forget. Attack. Good. Okay. I think he should die if I manage to get a hit on him. Good. I am gonna check on some masters that I think I missed. I'm barely into the jungle. There's 3 or 4 that I can get to now. The dragon, like, yeah, I'm gonna go explore some dragons. Travel to fishing spot? Cool. Okay, that works. Oh, I see. I see. Get there. Oh, interesting. Didn't know that. I guess I need to make my way back to Null Continent. Original, but starting continent. Do some damage. They die pretty quick. Damn. Get up there. Okay. The worst thing about this game is definitely the camera. You guys aren't too bad on their own. Hey Ark, how are you doing? Thank you. Safe to charge. Oh, they can fire blast. That. Ooh, that would have been safe to do that. Did not expect 2 fire blasts in a turn. That doesn't sound too bad. I have until Monday. Well, Monday I have off as well, but Tuesday I go back into work. So, staying up late. Yeah. I was busy with D&D earlier and then had some stuff to take care of. And I'm going to be busy tomorrow. So, wanted to get some streaming time in while I could. I should have. Went really well. I made a mistake a while ago. I thought it might be fun, but it's turning out not to be that great. Fuck. Juvenate. I made a mistake a while ago. I normally write all of my own stories, and it allows me to do a lot more kind of improvisational things, because my group is a little chaotic. Um, but I thought it'd be fun if we like tried a pre-made story kind of thing. And it's just been a bit of a slog. I'm trying to get them out as quickly as I can, but also I can't like fudge things as well. So it's been going a bit slow. But today they like went into this room, and on the doors were like a two-headed snake drawn, a head on both ends, and uh, like hidden amongst the rubble in the room was a giant snake that was going to attack them. And after the snake saw them, started attacking, they all started saying like, "Oh shit, it's gonna like if the door has two heads on it, so if we cut it, it's just gonna grow another head. It's gonna be like a snake hydra," which was not the case. It was just a big snake. But I forget exactly how it started, but one of the players got upset that the snake could make two attacks in a turn. A lot of enemies can, but it can bite and then try to constrict in one turn. It very clearly lists that in the snake's description and everything else. Like the snake has two attacks. And so they made a slip of the tongue and said, like, "I'm not gonna let this fucking snake punch me," or something like that. And I said, "Well, yeah, he's definitely not gonna punch you, but he's gonna bite you." And she was not happy about that. But then I decided, because she kept complaining, that this was going to be a magic snake, and every time they hit it, it would grow a new fist, like an arm would pop out of it. And it would then gain an extra attack each turn, depending on the number of arms that it had. And so they wound up fighting this like 10-armed snake that was wriggling around and trying to murder them. Way back in the day, I played EverQuest. It was an early MMO. And, it wasn't super polished when it came out. And, you'd have your basic attack. It was an auto attack, and enemies would have that as well. So they would just hit every, like half a second or so. But then you would have other little abilities like shield bashing or trying to disarm the enemy or things like that. And one of the most basic ones that not all characters, but like melee characters would have was kicking. And for the first like 10 years of the game, the developers just didn't care enough to fix it, I guess. But snakes had the ability to kick. It became kind of a meme in the game. That was before memes were really a thing, but I'm always on board with snakes having limbs. I mean, the graphics weren't very good, so they didn't need to animate anything for it. It was just like an attack they had. So they could kick every like 3 seconds or something like that. In the early days of that game, it was so fun. Like everything was so new. And maybe because I was 10, but I've never had a gaming experience like that since then. Like the world feeling so big and discovering something new every time I played. I guess you couldn't really have that nowadays, but pretty sure there's Dragon Gem here. but I don't quite remember where. The mutant gem, if I'm not mistaken. We're meant to be together, Dang. Stole my controller like you stole my heart. Also, I am off tomorrow, so really, you're the degenerate here. I guess yeah. How's school going, Dang? How's work, by the way, Ark? I didn't ask you. I officially submitted my deposit for a seat at school next year. So, pretty excited about that. I have my like university ID and everything now. That feels pretty cool. Oh, that's not good. My students are having their midterms now, and one of my favorite things to do to them is uh, there's a test that I took when I was a kid that it's just meant to like test how your like direction following skills are. And the first problem on it, it says like before doing anything, read every question completely. For number 1. And then like number 2 through 24 are just bizarre commands like shout your name out loud, stab some holes through your paper, write something on the blackboard, walk around the classroom, that kind of thing. But the final one, if you do properly read through all of the questions as you're instructed to, the final one is only do only do number 2. And number 2 is write your name on the blackboard, or write your name on the paper. And so, the kids are kind of, I make a big deal about, I want to see how quickly you can finish this test. It's a time test. I don't know if you have enough time to finish. Please go quickly if you can, and make it seem very serious. And they all race to get to the end. And then I get to tell the entire class that they failed. And like 99% of the kids think it's kind of funny, but there's always like one kid, and it's normally the ones that aren't even that good as students, that just get so annoyed. And it's beautiful watching them complain. I think because it's fun, they like the less good students really try to compete. I mean, I tell them at the end it's not worth any points. Like, it's just to help them relax after a week of tough tests. But the shield has 650 health. Or like smart kids that get it, like finish the quickest, and then I explain to them what they did wrong, are always funny to watch them come back in. dejected and sad. Oh, that's good. Last week, it seemed like you were kind of feeling the heat. Okay. What's this one? I need to add a new chat box. For the PlayStation games I play, I like having the messages stay on there because it fills the screen up a little bit more. But for Smash Bros. Or something, it gets kind of in the way. I like the color scheme on that. I think that is only for spells that it's reflecting. Hmm. Oh. Well, that was. Why would you go after the one that countered? Thank you. That's lovely. I'm kind of concerned. Japan is being real slow with the vaccine rollout. And I got an email from the school today that they're going to be requiring the vaccine for anyone that is coming to school, and they're going back to in-person classes, which I am happy for. I don't think I would really learn as well as I could online, but like Japan, at least in Toyama, originally the plan was to have started rolling out the vaccine quite early and be close to finished by July, or at least start like the big rollout by July. Local governments have started being pressed on that, and they're saying, well, actually, it'll probably be more like mid August or so by the time I'm already back home. And I I have to go home early August, then quarantine for 2 weeks, then sometime between now and then I need to find a place to live in the city. Uh, and then in between the 2 weeks being finished and then heading up to school, there's a month, but that also involves moving my entire life twice within 2 months. So, oh shit. Just rather get it done here and then not have that added stress. Oh, okay. Okay. Okay, it's wanting me to go on the diagonal. Or yeah, that's kind of my plan at the moment. Um, but I guess since it's like the two doses a few weeks apart, that's my big concern. And I don't want to miss, the first week of class or something like that. Okay. Not a bad start. Oh. So what I've gotten so far is that they plan on returning back to in-person classes, depending on the situation. But the plan currently is to go full in-person. So I don't really know what will happen, but I mean, hopefully it is in person, and hopefully I can get all this resolved. Either way, though, really excited still. Oh no. Ryu doesn't die. But dang, I'm kind of fascinated by this in Japanese, and I don't know what it's like in other, in languages I don't know, but in Indonesian, are there a lot of borrowed words from other languages? I was talking to a friend of mine, a Japanese friend today, and it made me laugh a lot. I'm just fascinated by like borrowed words and how that works. Like for a long time, I thought that "skosh" in English was a Yiddish word. I didn't know that it was a Japanese word originally imported from the war. And obviously, Japanese has a ton of imported words. But one that I found kind of accidentally while I was planning a lesson on loan words was onani. Do you know onani? Very important word. So onani is onani. It is the Japanese word for masturbation. And I always think it's super funny when I hear it because it comes from the Bible. And I'm not religious, but like in the Bible, there's the story of Onan, who, through a series of events, was told by God to have sex with his dead brother's wife. I think he was dead. But then had sex with her and then didn't finish inside of her. And then God killed him. I think. Something like that. But his name has been taken into Japanese to mean masturbation. And I think that's so interesting and weird and it's fun. Shiko shiko, isn't that just peeing? These things is he married to? It's an Old Testament thing, but yeah. Oshiko is pee. And I've heard senzuri and manzuri, but I think those are older words. Zuri being stroke, and then for men it's senzuri, and for women it was manzuri. Yeah, I always like that one. There's a you need to get yourself a Japanese girlfriend. Someone that can teach you things. Or boyfriend. I don't know how you swing, but glad that he speaks it. There was a video that I saw that I show my students, uh, and at the end of the year when we've got some downtime. And I need to go get something to drink. It's a video about speaking like pure Japanese, Japanese without any foreign words. I remember all this. And like in the video, the interviewer goes up to some Japanese people and asks them first, how good is your Japanese? I'll say, well, yeah, it's okay, or it's good. No. Hey, Travis. Okay. Way to make an entrance. And they ask him like to say things without speaking with any foreign words. And by and large, they can, even though it sounds very strange. But in like 4 years of showing this video, even the teachers, like the Japanese language teachers at the school, don't know the Japanese word for escalator, which I think is kind of fascinating. Like, at least as far as English goes, and even though even though English is a mishmash of different languages. Oh yeah, there is one. It's Dento Teki Den. I forget what it is. I'll find it later and I'll show you. Uh, but like in English, I at least know, think how to say everything in English. I don't think there's any foreign loan words that I rely upon or like couldn't do without. But in like Japanese, yeah, there is a word for it, but nobody uses it. Hmm. I'm sure that there's some historical context for that. I mean, the British did a lot of imperialism, uh, but yeah, I think it's kind of interesting. I am going to refill my drink because Winter wants me to have a sip of water. I'll be right back. Hello, hello, hello. Yeah. I don't remember what the other ones were. It was uh, a video camera, a hotel, a menu, cheese, and the sign in or the check in sheet at a hotel, I think. And then escalator. Hmm. Ooh, bad very. Good crossover. I'm not sure on the pronunciation, but I feel like bowl could also sound dirty in English as well. Well, that's nice. Maybe. A lot of my more immature friends here are always really happy when they learn how to say cheers in French. Food. Okay. Bad. So, cheers in French is chin chin, like sound of glasses hitting. Well, it's only immature if you know Japanese. In Japanese, Dedeng also speaks Japanese, so I was telling him that. But in Japanese, chin chin is penis. So, uh, yeah. I've been in a few pretty crowded restaurants with drunk old men that have just learned that, and they start screaming out penis as they're drinking. Cheers. Hmm. Yeah, that's true. Happy to be of service. Okay. I'm gonna give. Got really low armor right now. Also increases her agility. Okay. Happy to be teaching in my off time. So who do I talk to learn where these herbs are? Like it'd be an old lady. Probably know everything. Okay. Kind of rude. Okay. Go fishing eventually. Called Mosweed. Okay. Yeah, it's kind of neat. The third game, Breath of Fire 3, it does have like a fishing village built into like the side of a mountain. Not really a floating market per se. It's more like there are some places on piers. But in this one, uh, they went kind of hard with the like China and East Asia, Southeast Asia themes. east of here has Oswego. Okay. I mean, I was recommending the third one. This one I don't think is as good. Breath of Fire 3, I think, is just a really solid game overall. Okay. Okay. Oh, oh, okay. Oh, wait. Oh, I haven't played. Wait. Here. Looks like something. Maybe not. I really have this cutscene just because I went to the wrong spot. I'm like in that place now. Okay. Oh, this is. Oh. I see. Don't know if I'm supposed to go to this flag. Okay. Need that, but go. Definitely send an island east. Come on, just send me back. Hmm. Okay, so those are not islands I can go to either. Up through there. Since I don't really know where I'm going right now, Travis, this isn't the best example of the quality of this game. Oh, yeah, there's a flag. Let's go there. But the story is pretty fun. There we go. Yeah. No worries. I've never played Splatoon. It looked fun. I can go around the other side. Yeah, I know. I don't want to have to come back if I need more. I don't actually know how many I got. And you can use them in combat. It's not a useless thing to have. Yeah, you can cut infinite from there. When I was a kid, I would always get 99 of them because I was paranoid. There's a tree earlier in the game that you hit for apples, and apples heal 100 health, and you can hit it as much as you want. So I tend to get quite a few of those as well. Just because it's nice to have free stuff. Nice. Mm. Dancing is the best way to heal. Oh. Chic Roy. No Staroy. The Roy. Roy. North Rock. I think that's where the dragon is. Yeah, pretty much. Um, it. I can't speak to the first two because I've only played those about halfway through. But uh, the basic story is that there are different clans that exist in the world. You can see the guy in the back with the blonde hair has a tail, and the girl has wings, and so there's a cat person clan and a bird person clan, and then the blue haired guy is part of the dragon clan. And there's a goddess that feared for the world because of the power of the dragons. And so she set out to wipe them out through various means, um, to varying levels of success. And 4 is a bit weird in the timeline. It may be an alternate timeline, or it may be a prequel, or it may be a sequel kind of far in the future. But for 3, the goddess waged war against the dragon clan until she'd wiped out all of them. And you're living in this this world protected by the goddess, where kind of technology has basically been lost, but people are starting to rediscover machines that keep washing ashore from far across the ocean, built by some kind of ancient civilization. And so it's this, like, a man versus god JRPG story, but at the same time, while it is 90% like classic fantasy kind of stuff, there's this kind of undercurrent of sci-fi going on that's really cool. And one of the things that 3 does, at least, I think most people were disappointed about 4 for not doing it, is you get different. I mean, it's like the spirit of the dead dragons that you find, but holy shit, that's some people. Okay. Ursula Fire Blast. Cyclone. And so as you're going through, you get these different genes, dragon genes they call them, from dead dragons, and they give you different like elements that you can use when you're transforming into a dragon. And you get like 20 or so of them, and you can combine any 3 of them to make a different kind of dragon, which is really cool, like learning the different things you can turn into. Pretty sure there's a gene over here too. But for this one, they just gave you like set dragon forms, which was a little disappointing. In the first one, I believe it's the light dragons versus the dark dragons, so it's dragon against dragon. But from then on, I believe it's the story of the goddess and the world, kind of. Yeah, the art style in this one's very, very beautiful, I think. It's a lot more anime than 3 is. Oh, okay. Oh, interesting. In 3, you're limited. You have 6 party members total, but you're limited to 3 at a time. Or one of the big improvements, I think, for this is that you have your back 3 members, and you can swap them out at any time during combat. I think I like the soundtrack for 3 more as well. And probably the story. This one is a lot more mature, but in 3, the story is kind of a classically done, very well done RPG story, I think. Betrayal and loss and all that. Let's try to learn this ability. I'm gonna use knockout at some point, but so far it hasn't. In combat, if you defend, you can learn certain attack skills from enemies if they use them. Hey, there we go. Hmm. When do you have class today? I'm probably gonna go to bed at 5 or 5:30, I think. Starting to feel a little tired, but want to get through this area. One of the other kind of neat things that I like in both games that it has a master system. So, uh, you can apprentice your characters to the different masters, and they change your stat growth. So, like some characters are always going to be beefy tanks and that kind of thing, but for some of the more middle of the road ones, you can really specialize them a lot more, which is kind of cool for a game from this age. Yeah, I hope that you can get something done. You don't want to waste the whole day away. I am playing it on an emulator, but it's originally for the PlayStation. And I have copies of it too. I think there's a PC version, actually, now that I think about it. But I never played that one. This one, 3 and 4 were both on the PlayStation, and 1 and 2 were on the Super Nintendo. And then 5 was on the PlayStation 2. Ooh, a bit of a nasty hit. Science can. Oh, yeah, he should be dead by then. Oh, interesting. I know that there was a PC release, but it might have been disc only. It was a while ago. Yeah, they're definitely safe. I'm more than happy to help kind of walk you through getting it set up. Uh, Maybe not while I'm streaming, but if you want to add me on Discord or send me a message on Twitch, then I'd be happy to help you out. I had Yeah, I had a PlayStation emulator and a Game Boy Advance emulator on my MacBook when I had one. That was 7 or 8 years ago, and they both worked fine. Most emulators are going to have their own like official site, uh, so they're fairly trustworthy. And then there's a few sites that I can point you towards for finding ROMs and other games safely. Yeah, no problem. Well, I should be attacking first. Okay. Hmm? Symbol is. I I don't know what the status effect is, but it looks like it makes me crit. Which cool. I've emulated up to PlayStation 2. I know they're working on PS3 and like Wii U and everything like that as well, as far as emulation goes. So depending on your computer. For Mac, I think it's a fair bit behind though, but at least up to the PlayStation era, I can state for a fact that they have stuff available. Mm-hmm. Ooh, there we go. How do I get in there? So these are the gems I was talking about that hold the spirits of the old dragons. No, it's literally download it, download a game, and then you're good to go. Um, the hardest part, honestly, is getting a controller to work with it. Uh, you can just play on keyboard, but I don't really like how that feels. With Game Boy, it's okay, but for like PlayStation or anything, I would rather have a controller. And I think it somebody's recommended it to me before. Oh, is that like Aragon? Yeah. Hey, how's it going? I read one of them, but I didn't read through the whole thing. Ooh, you can do it. Is this the new job? Oh, cool. Have you had to tackle anybody yet? Protect the buildings? The only answer I want to hear is yes. Thank you. That's all I needed to know. See you, Ding. Have a good sleep. Good luck waking up by 4. I think I missed one then. I did miss one. Okay, well, I can always go back and get them. I might have some questions for you, Anthony, about location stuff for finding a place to live in a while. Once I get everything kind of figured out. Nice. Really need to get him off Momo. Hmm. Yeah, this one is a little bit different. Um, this one is less to do with like gods looking down on the world and is more like intrigue between warring nations. Um, Basically, the start of the game and the whole game is told in kind of two paths. One is the blue-haired guy and his friends here, uh, trying to discover who he is, and then the other is the first emperor of the empire, a guy named Fu Lu, who was the most powerful of the dragons, and he's been summoned improperly and split into two. So one half of him kind of retained most of his power and memories, whereas the other half of him is you, the main character. You control both of them at different parts in the game. Um, but for this, the like start of the journey is that you're trying to find the girl with the wings. She's a princess of the kind of rival nation, and her sister has gone missing. And you and the cat guy are trying to find and save her. use some magic before he falls. You kind of proceed to learn that the Empire has been experimenting with human sacrifice in order to try to win the war. Right? A great miss. Let's see how much Sias does now that I got him a new weapon. My favorite book series is The Wheel of Time, and I read through all of those and really enjoyed them. But Mistborn and most of Brandon Sanderson stuff is really good too. Go up here. Okay. Or there was another one, the Unto the Thousand Kingdoms or the Thousand Empires or something like that. It was by a female author. I forget her name. But it was really, really good. The Thousandth Empire? Oh, here it is. Da, da, da. The 100,000 Kingdoms. The 100,000 Kingdoms. It feels kind of rare to read like high fantasy where the main character is female, and it was just a really cool experience. I mean, the story was really, really good too. I liked all the twists and turns that it had. I liked everything in it, but yeah, the idea there is that uh, there's one uh, there's an empire, and there's like the main seat of their power, and they kind of control everything because they have the power of the gods with them. And the gods have been basically enslaved by the emperor and the whole line of his family. And the emperor is dying, calls all of the people that are in line for the throne to him. And one of them is his granddaughter from a daughter that ran away and had forsaken the throne. And so it's her entering this high society after being like a country bumpkin her whole life, not knowing really anything about the empire because it's so far removed from her, and at the same time dealing with all of her family basically trying to kill her, along with the gods who are unable to kill her directly, but want to. And it was just told really well. Yeah, there's a lot. Um, or like Kurt Vonnegut is a classic that I always recommend to people. Cat's Cradle is one of my favorite books. And there's a bunch of Japanese fiction as well that is getting translated that's super good. Yeah, I think I still read quite a bit in. Yeah, that's really good. I read a bunch basically for forever. One of my majors was literature, and so I kind of had to. What's music lesson about? If you're ever looking for book suggestions, let me know. I'm happy to offer some ideas. That's really cool. Bass always seemed fun to learn to play. I played violin until university and played a bit of guitar. So I know enough music theory to understand when people are talking about it, but I not enough to really do anything with it. Oh, is he a musician? The main character or the author? I guess the is person being taught things a music. Hmm, that's super cool. Hmm. My favorite novel is called The Fall by Albert Camus. And it's a really short one. It's only 100 pages or so. I have a copy here, but uh, the way that it's told is uh, the main character or the person that you're kind of reading from the perspective of never speaks in the novel. Uh, but then the main character, the one that's speaking to you, is have basically the novel's told as a conversation, and you're only hearing what the main character in the book is saying and how he is responding to supposedly what you had been saying back to him. So it'd be like, "Oh, hey, it's good to see you here. How are you doing?" "That's good to hear. I'm doing great as well." Well, no, he does speak. Just the dialogue isn't written, so you have to kind of fill in the blanks there for yourself, which is something I haven't experienced in a book before. and it's the story of this Parisian lawyer and kind of his fall from grace, and kind of the story of why you meet him in a dive bar in the streets of Amsterdam. It's really cool. Uh, I connect with it a lot on kind of a personal level. Um, yeah, I really like it. There's another fantasy series called The Black Prism that I enjoyed reading a lot. Um, that was basically like high fantasy Green Lantern, which I thought was pretty fun. Oh, yeah, that's super cool. What manga are you reading? Here. Yeah, it's not too long of a read. I feel like I'm wandering in circles. Oh, cool. I didn't know that they had. I knew there was a Pokemon manga. I didn't know there was a Splatoon one. There's a really old manga for this game that I've wanted to find, and I might buy a copy of it before I leave Japan, just for collector's sake. The last time I went to the, I think, yeah, and I've been wandering in a circle for like 15 minutes. I got the Behemoth gene, but I can't remember where to go from here. The last time I went to a used manga store, I found the Persona 4 manga. And that was really good. I liked it anyway. Yeah, there is. It's probably pretty tough to find, but how are you doing, Giuseppe? Feels like I'm gonna go the other way. This feels like I'm going backwards. Hmm. Well, I'm glad to hear it's not going awful. How come just okay? A lot of money from the end of this. Go this way. Jump here. Jump here. I think this is progress. Hopefully. Yeah, I know how that can be. I just got admitted into the school I was hoping to get into last week. I got pulled off the wait list, which was kind of amazing for me. But just that feeling of stress disappearing was so nice, but I was exhausted afterwards. I'm glad you're pulling yourself out, though. This is the wrong way. I need to pay more attention to the compass. Jusette, do you know what this effect is? I don't remember what it is. I'm going to go get some more water. I'll be right back. Yeah, me neither. I thought that I knew at least all the status effects, but I'll have to look it up later. I don't think I'm going backwards. Maybe. Okay. Could be. Yeah. I quickly Googled Breath of Fire 4 status effects, but nothing popped up immediately. Travis was just telling me about some books he was reading. Are there any good books that you've been reading, Lisa? Recently? Or do you have a favorite book? Trying to finish The Rhythm of War, and I'm reading through a few in Japanese right now, so those take a lot of time, but I'm always on the lookout for anything kind of outside my wheelhouse. Okay, so oh, I can't go forward. I like Ursula a lot. Okay. Those two don't care. Ah, okay, okay. Yeah, it said in the like description that if you smell their pollen, you get happy. So that would make sense. That's fair. I go through phases like that too. So, Travis, this is the part where you're playing as Fulu, the Emperor of the Empire, and he's been attacked by the present day Emperor or Empire because they don't want him coming back right now. At the very least, Ryu won't die here. In this one, it's kind of split between the two of them. You are two halves of the same soul, basically. But in all of the Breath of Fire games, the main character, Ryu, and the girl with the wings, Nina, uh, are like the two main characters that you have. And then your party members can change. Yes. But it looks like I may not be controlling him at the moment. Party order like. Yeah, I beat it when I was a kid. Just coming back to play it for fun. I think it's been like 15 years or so since I beat it. Oh, new floor. Yeah. Oh, that's what I thought it was gonna mute. Oh, okay. Silence is not. Silence is different in this game. Ooh. I just shouldn't have Nina attack. If my damage breakpoints are like this, safer for her not to. Yep, now everybody's confused. Yeah, well, that's good. Gonna make sure he dies. I do not enjoy it as much as most people, I think. Um, so earlier I said that I really like the Wheel of Time, and after the author of the Wheel of Time died, and the Wheel of Time was 13 books, and they were all about 1,000 pages each. So the world was this huge, very intricately crafted thing. But like one of the big criticisms of the Wheel of Time is there is so much description. Like there are a couple books in the middle where you basically don't see the main character because of all of the stuff that he's been doing with so many different people and places. And I think that's very fair. And after he died, it was book 12, I think, 11 that he died after. And Brandon Sanderson, the guy that does the Stormlight Archives, uh, took over for him. And Sanderson, if you haven't read any of his stuff before, is so good at action. Like, stories are really exciting to read, and like something's always happening, and the fights are super cool. And he does that really well. The issue I have with Sanderson is that I don't think his world building is all that great. And the Stormlight Archive is like literally a multiversal story that he's trying to tell. Uh, and I think he gets kind of lost in the stories he's trying to do sometimes. So, like, when stuff is happening, it's really cool. But when stuff isn't happening, when he's trying to make the world bigger, I think it gets kind of bogged down. Personally. gonna make me. But it is. I mean, it's good. Yeah. Um, as much as I poo-pooed on uh, Sanderson just now, I think Mistborn is a really kind of easy fantasy to get back into if you're looking for like high fantasy and that kind of story. See any fish around here? Do I have to catch a fish? Oh, I guess not. It is a series. There's a 3-book series, I believe, and then there's 1 or 2 sequel stories to that series that weren't as good, but were still okay. And one of the like cool things that Sanderson does, I guess there's 2 cool things kind of tied into it. Um, each of his different book series, and he's written a lot of different series, has a very detailed and thought out and unique magic system, which I really like. York. And in Mistborn, some people are born with the ability to ingest certain metals. It grants them different abilities. Like if you ingest, uh, like iron, it lets you kind of be magnetic and bend things, uh, or like pull things. And there's a different metal that if you ingest it, you can push things and that kind of thing. Uh, and so it's a complex magic system that's very well thought out. But also, each of his individual stories, he's starting to piece them together uh, through the Stormlight archive, because they're all set in the same universe. Uh, none of them are specifically connected as of yet. Well, there have been connections in the Stormlight archive, but in the other stories, except for one character, there haven't been explicit connections between them. So connecting everything together, I think, is really cool. if it's not high fantasy you're looking for, but just fantasy in general, my favorite author is Murakami Haruki. Uh, and so I always recommend his books quite a bit. I don't know if I would like them as much as I did when I read them. Uh, but there's one series that starts with a book called Hear the Wind Sing, then goes into a book called Pinball, and then A Wild Sheep Chase. And it follows this guy from high school to university to when he actually starts working and has a career and is dealing with it. And that's magical realism, which is one of my favorite genres. Uh, so like high fantasy would be like medieval stuff. Like there's wizards all over the place. There's swords and dragons and that kind of thing. Fantasy could be, anything, really. I think I'm gonna call it a night once I get to a save spot. Oh, Hulu is not. Oh, save soon. So, like Game of Thrones or Lord of the Rings, that kind of thing is high fantasy. Uh, where Harry Potter would be fantasy, and magical realism is uh, like largely realistic fictional stories where something magical can happen. Um, yeah. So those three books, Hear the Wind Sing, Pinball, and A Wild Sheep Chase, are called the Trilogy of the Rat. And it starts off with uh, this guy, I think he's in high school, and as a literary movement, Murakami was one of the people that wrote Boku novels. Boku means I, and so it was a kind of new movement in Japanese literature where the main character would refer to himself as I. It would be kind of a first person telling. Um, but rather than use like, formal language, they would use a lot more casual speech. And uh, Hulu is ready to destroy stuff. And Hear the Wind Sing, it starts off with his best friend killing himself. And that's kind of a backdrop for everything that's going on in his life as he's growing and coming to terms with himself and entering this new stage of life, graduating from high school, kind of learning who he is. And then there's some weird stuff happening at the same time. But uh, yeah, it's just really, really good. Uh, every year people think Murakami is going to win the Nobel Prize for Literature, and every year people are surprised when he doesn't. But yeah, it's really good. There's another book he wrote called Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World, which is my favorite from him, that tells two stories at the same time. One about a human computer, basically, a guy that has taught himself to encode strings of text and things so he can make them indecipherable to other people. And he's hired out by different scientists and things that classify information. And it's like a detective story on his end. A scientist has been killed, and he has to go and figure out what's been going on. And the other story is about a man that goes into a town called the End of the World, and in it, outside the town, the gated town, there's a herd of golden unicorns that are allowed in and out. And the gatekeeper tells the man that he can come in, but he has to give up his shadow. So he tells his shadow, don't worry, I'll be back. And as he goes in, he starts to discover all the people that exist at the end of the world, and strange things about them and their lives and how they live. And the stories start kind of interweaving. The scientist had been working on learning to make bones speak and tell their stories. It's really cool. Boom. But it is morning, the sun is out, and I am gonna get headed to sleep. The title of that book was Hard-Boiled Wonderland and the End of the World. Let me go with two hands. By Murakami Haruki. He also has a lot of short story collections that are really good. After the Quake is a short story collection of his that I recommend people as well if they just want to dip their toes in it. And really, really good. But I am gonna get headed to bed. Thanks for stopping by. It was fun. Boom. And I will see you guys later. Have a great night or day. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.